knows a lot about the science stuff. Professor Dave explains.
Continuing with our study of fingerprints as a method of identification, after the fingerprints are formed at the CS, they get subjected to different environmental factors until the investigating team arrives at the scene. This process is called the aging of the fingerprints. Many of the prints may get destroyed and contaminated during this period. The investigating team must recognize all probable sites where fingerprints might be deposited. This initial examination can be done using alternate light sources. Some of the fingerprints might be readily visible at this stage. Regardless, initial examination of the fingerprints is followed by their enhancement using different techniques. Enhancement results in sufficient contrast between a fingerprint and its surface such that all ridge details are readily visible. A complete fingerprint with a discernible core and delta is rarely present at a crime scene. Most of the time, the finger marks at the scene are just a small part of the fingerprint which may not even establish the particular pattern. Individualization at this stage is out of the question. However, the investigating team needs to make the most of whatever is present at the scene. Therefore, enhancement of the fingerprints is extremely necessary to identify as many Galton details as possible. After enhancement and subsequent recording, these fingerprints are compared with those of the people suspected to be involved in the crime. The enhancement of fingerprints is a vast topic, and it involves many techniques used on different surfaces. We will study them in detail later in the series. For now, the collection of fingerprints from the suspects is an equally important topic to discuss. If proper protocol is not followed, the fingerprints recorded might be smudged, rendering the ridge details incomprehensible. What if finger marks collected from the scene contain ridge details that match with the part of the recorded fingerprint that got smudged? Recording fingerprints is a non-invasive procedure, so it does not warrant any harm to the subject, nor does it involve the introduction of any tool inside your body, as with the collection of blood. But attempting to collect fingerprints from the same subject again and again would certainly annoy the subject, leading them to not want to cooperate with the investigation. This makes the case for accurate recording of fingerprints even stronger. Therefore, let us learn about this procedure in detail. Legible fingerprints can be recorded manually or digitally. Let's start with the manual method first. You can try this at home if you have a stamp pad. Use it to take multiple fingerprints of the same finger on a plain sheet of paper. You will observe that the fingerprints taken later will be more legible due to the evenness of the ink deposit. Take a magnifying glass or capture a photo of the fingerprint. Zoom in to observe the ridge details. Does this fingerprint contain all the details necessary for comparison? Consider this. Hold a pen or pencil and mimic your action of writing. Use your index and middle fingers to mimic smoking. Touch the screen of your smartphone. Now consider the pen and your smartphone as evidence found at the CS. What kinds of fingerprints would be detected on them? The side of your index finger comes in contact with a pen while writing. Sides of the index and middle finger while smoking. The tip of the finger is often used to touch the screen. The ridge details along with the side parts of the fingertips and from the tip of the fingers would be recovered from this evidence. Now back to your plain fingerprint taken using the stamp pad. Can you compare this fingerprint with the side finger marks recovered from the pen which you just considered as evidence? No, because plain prints just depict the front-facing part of a fingerprint. This is the biggest drawback of using plain fingerprints for comparison. Sometimes plain fingerprints might not even record a delta. Counting ridges between the core and the delta and tracing a ridge between two deltas are essential aspects of fingerprint classification. Coming back to plain prints, they might be the easiest to collect and the most recovered type of fingerprints from a CS. Nevertheless, a plain print cannot suffice for subsequent classification. This is why we need to record a legible fingerprint that contains all the details required for classification. It is fingerprint classification that will provide a unique identity to a person. Therefore, to make things easier by recording as many ridge details as possible, we record fingerprints not only by taking plain prints, but also by rolling the finger from nail to nail. These prints are known as rolled prints. Let us understand how these prints are taken. First, let's understand that fingerprints are not recorded by the subject themselves. The subject barely has to do anything other than just cooperate with the procedure. It is the investigator who does all the work. The protocol begins with cleaning the subject's fingers with soap and water so that the fingers are devoid of grease and contaminants. If soap is unavailable, rubbing alcohol can also be used for cleaning. Some people can have dry and flaky palms. In such a case, a hand lotion can be used to wipe off dust or skin flakes. Once the hands are clean, recording begins. An ink pad is placed on a firm platform in such a way that the forearm should be parallel to the ground. In case an ink pad is not available, a roller is used to roll ink on a glass slab. The ink is evenly spread on the glass slab using the roller. This slab is then used in place of an ink pad. The investigator then holds the finger of the subject and rolls it from nail to nail on the ink pad. The fingers are rolled in such a way that the portion of the finger from one edge of the nail to the other and the area between the tip of the finger to the crease of the first joint is evenly covered with ink. The uniformity of ink is very important here, as otherwise the pattern will appear smudged. Once the finger is sufficiently inked, it is rolled on the fingerprint card to record the impression. To prevent smudging, rolling of the finger must be done in a continuous motion, and the finger must be lifted immediately after rolling. Another important aspect to consider is the sufficient pressure essential for capturing a legible fingerprint. The weight of the fingers alone is the maximum pressure required for taking clear fingerprints. If even a little extra pressure is applied by the investigator or the subject on the fingers, then the fingerprints might not be accurately recorded. Because of this, the fingers are always rolled from an awkward to easy position to maximize advantage of the natural movement of the forearm. Therefore, the thumb is rolled towards the center of the body, while the rest of the fingers are rolled away from the center of the body. Just try doing this yourself. Place your thumb on a platform and roll it towards the body as well as away from the body. You will feel the transition from a difficult position to an easier position when you roll the thumb towards the body. Try taking rolled fingerprints in both of these cases and decide for yourself which print looks better. Moving forward, the investigator must also instruct the subject to be loose, not to look at the ink pad, and focus on something else. The subject might just be asked to keep focusing on a spot on the wall during the entire process. This is because if the subject pays attention to actual fingerprinting, they might become conscious of the procedure, leading to extra pressure on the finger. Even a tiny bit of extra pressure or movement might result in insufficient ridge details. Now that we've studied how to record rolled fingerprints, let us look at the standard fingerprint card, which is used for recording. The first portion involves details of the subject, including name, residence, alias, the reason for fingerprinting, and so on. Below the details section are 2 rows. The upper row is for fingers of the right hand, numbered 1 to 5 from right thumb to right little finger. The lower row is for fingers of the left hand, numbered 6 to 10 from left thumb to left little finger. This section is for rolled fingerprints, and the fingers are rolled in their respective blocks. Also, they must be upright and vertical. Below the rolled prints is the part where plain prints are taken. They are taken after the rolled prints. 4 fingers of a hand are pressed simultaneously in the section allotted for the left and right hand. This is followed by the recording of the plain prints of the individual thumbs. One might wonder, what is the need for plain prints when we've already recorded rolled prints in detail? Moreover, why not record the prints of the 4 fingers individually rather than simultaneously doing the same? The reason why these prints are taken simultaneously is that it helps to verify the sequence of the rolled prints with the plain prints. In simple words, rolled fingerprints are compared with the corresponding plain print to confirm they're from the same finger. Once all fingerprints are successfully recorded, they are digitally scanned to a database. With the manual recording of fingerprints done, let's move on to the digital method. The protocol of capturing the fingerprints is the same here, the only difference being that the live scan machine gives real-time feedback regarding the clarity of the fingerprints. Thus, digital recording is a much easier process. Now, there are some special circumstances that an investigator might encounter while recording fingerprints. If a finger is deformed, every attempt is made to record rolled and plain prints. A tool used in post-mortem fingerprinting, known as the spoon, is used for this purpose. If it is still impossible to record a legible fingerprint, the reason is noted in the respective block. Similarly, if a finger is missing, it is noted as such, whether bandaged, paralyzed, injured, crippled, etc. One thing to mention here is that the term missing finger does not mean that a finger is missing. It just indicates that the finger is not available for fingerprinting due to the presence of a condition that renders it unable to do so. An amputated finger is noted separately along with the reason as amputated, missing since birth, severed, etc. Scarred fingers are recorded without any notation. If an individual has an extra finger, only the thumb and the next 4 fingers are recorded. The extra fingerprint is not recorded in any case. Some individuals may have thin and worn ridges in the pattern area due to the nature of their occupation or their age. In such a case, the ridges are raised by a technique known as milking the finger. It involves rubbing the fingers in a downward motion from palm to fingertip. If you want to try this process on your own, it's quite easy to download an official fingerprint card, or you can draw the blocks for rolled prints and plain prints on a blank sheet of paper. Take your fingerprints in the manner explained here, or those of someone else. Don't worry if they're not clear enough, we're just attempting to learn the science while having some fun. After recording, keep the cards safe for the next tutorial, where we will learn about ridge counting and ridge tracing, the two most important prerequisites for fingerprint classification.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more tutorials. Support me on Patreon so I can keep making content. And as always, feel free to email me, ProfessorDaveExplains@gmail.com.